Scoop here with veteran journalist Dan Rather on the campus of the University of South Carolina in Columbia. Dan, thanks for taking time to talk with us tonight.
Adam, good to see you. Congratulations on your work.
Yeah, thank you. You just got out of the broadcast for tonight. How did you think that went?
Well, I thought it went well. We're trying to do something different on HUNet with Dan Rather Reports. We want to report on politics. Why wouldn't we want to report this year? Historic race, great race on both sides. But we're trying to take the viewer and listener inside the campaigns as much as we can. Okay, what's happening on the inside? Never mind what they want to believe is happening. What's really happening on the inside? While at the same time giving, we hope, the proper context and perspective.
What do you hope that viewers gain from this 5-part series that you're doing, and in particular from tonight's broadcast?
Well, first of all, we love it when we can tell the viewers something they don't know, something new. That's number one. And to do that, as I said before, I think it's important that we get people who know what's going on the inside, who have contacts on the inside, and have it in their nerve-end feelings at their fingertips of what's happening in various places. So that sense of going inside is what we do. But the other thing we want to do is we want to do quality journalism of integrity as applied to political campaign coverage. We're less interested in polls, for example, than most are. When we analyze polls, we try to make fairly quick work of it when we can. We are interested in where the money comes from on all sides, who gives the money, what they expect to get for the money. We try to do some investigative reporting about that. These are among the things that I hope will make us different. If we're not different from other places on the dial, then we can't expect the viewer to turn to us.
What would you say is the best political story that you've ever covered, and how does that compare to this election?
What a good question. The Kennedy-Nixon race of 1960 was a classic, perhaps because I was younger at that time, but it was a very close race. First Roman Catholic, eventually elected president. I'd look back on that race as a great one. I think the 1980 race, in which a sitting president was defeated, came very close to being defeated for the nomination, was another classic race, the 1980 race. In presidential races, those are the ones that stand out in my mind. But, you know, I've never covered a political campaign that I didn't get excited about it. I have a passion for it.
With the rapid evolution of blogs like what we're doing, and multimedia websites like YouTube, social networking sites like Facebook, what do you see as the current and future impact of the internet on politics?
Well, first of all, the internet as a whole, we're talking about blogs, YouTube, the whole thing, it's changed the whole landscape. It's changed the landscape, it's changed the dynamic of campaigns. In my personal opinion, overall and in the main, in a positive way. There certainly are some negative aspects to it. One is accountability. You don't always know who's writing what. But it's also affected the money side of politics, which has always interested me because it takes ever more increasing sums of money to get up your own website, to pay bloggers, which sometimes, unfortunately, political candidates and campaigns do. We're looking at the first $2 billion American presidential campaign. By the time you get through with the whole thing, when November's over, soft money and hard money, it'll be a $2 billion campaign. But you know, I'm positive about the internet. Overall, in the main, I think it gives the voters more information, and even when it's opinion or not a very well-founded opinion, it gives voters more information, it gives them more transparency about the candidates and the campaigns. And that's all on the plus side, and that's the side I come down on, believing overall it's a plus. On the negative side, it's easier to run an outright smear campaign. Certainly television made it easier than the radio era, which made it easier than the newspaper era, and the internet era, to start all kinds of unfounded accusations against a candidate, and literally before they can react, even if they react in a few seconds, it's not only around our country but around the world. So that's on the negative side. But I think that any candidate in future who doesn't start by saying to his people what kind of internet campaign can be run is probably doomed to fail.
Over the summer, you did a controversial show on problems with electronic voting machines. I know we don't have much time left. At the time, you said we're not ready for the primaries. Just as briefly as you can, are we ready?
No. There are all kinds of problems with reliability with voting machines. We did a long investigation into touchscreen voting machines. Lack of quality control for one thing, lack of reliability for another. And based on our investigation, I think the American people were sold a big bill of goods. Some of the same people who brought us hanging chads, and the result of disastrous results of the 2000 election campaign, where we couldn't be certain who actually carried what state. Some of the same companies that perpetrated that then came back and said, do I have a deal for you? We have touchscreens. Touchscreens, all kinds of questions, enormous problems. Our investigation showed that many of them were being manufactured in near sweatshop labor conditions in the Philippines by companies who had headquarters overseas. Something needs to be done about this. And now they have electronic scan machines, and one can argue that they may be better, but they still have a lot of problems with them. I'm disappointed, as a citizen, I'm disappointed that somebody somewhere in Congress hasn't said, whoa, wait a minute, we need to really look in to what's happening with the voting machines, because we know the integrity of the vote is everything in a democracy such as ours.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Not at all. I appreciate it. I'm glad you knew about that.